Today we're going to look at the top 10 states with the least amount of sales tax. So why is this important? Sales tax really dictates a lot within the 50 states, where when you purchase goods you have to pay a fee, and that fee is known as the sales tax. That will eventually lead up to how much goods and services you could purchase. For example, if you go to a grocery store, you spend about $20, and if you have to pay a higher sales tax rate, then it decreases the amount of goods and services that you can buy over time. And today we're going to look at the top 10 states with the least amount of sales tax, starting with number 10, Idaho. So Idaho has a state sales tax of 6% and your average local sales tax of 0.02%. Now, that's just part of the story. If the average combined sales tax is 6.02%, that's actually considered very low. If you have a sales tax that is that low, then you need stores or goods and services to provide the goods you need for people to purchase things. So imagine that you go to one of the states and you have a really low sales tax. It doesn't really matter if you have to travel like an hour away just to go to the grocery store, or you travel like 2 hours away to go to a restaurant. That really negates the purpose of having really low sales tax. You must have a community and a lot of stores and shops and people to make it really worthy to have a really low sales tax rate. So Idaho has one of the top 10 lowest sales tax because the cities in Idaho charge a local sales tax that consumers must pay in addition of state sales tax in Idaho. Local sales tax rate in Sun Valley is about 3%, meaning that the residents in the area pay a total combined sales tax rate around 9%. So when you hear about 6% about state sales tax, it doesn't really include the local part. Now you include local, now you're looking around 9%, which is not cheap. But thankfully, there are plenty of areas in Idaho that don't charge a local sales tax at all. So it really dictates based on city. In some places, they might do by a whole entire county. So it depends on the area that you are shopping for. So there's other good things that you need to know about Idaho sales tax is you will need to pay a local sales tax on groceries, but the state has a grocery credit that you can claim on your tax return. So this credit averages to about $100. This also includes prescription drugs that are taxable. Clothing and motor vehicles purchases are taxable also. Which brings us down to number 9. Number 9, Maryland. Maryland, with a state sales tax of 6%, average local tax of 0%, and average combined tax around 6%. The nice thing about Maryland is that you can travel anywhere in the state and you don't have to worry about paying a different sales tax rate, meaning you don't have to search up city to city if you're looking to purchase something very specific. It's 6% everywhere since the counties and the cities do not levy their own taxes. Your groceries and prescriptions drugs are not taxable either. Plus, you need to pay the 6% tax on clothing and motor vehicle purchases. The other good things to know about Maryland sales taxes are alcoholic beverages are taxed at 9%. So there is a trade-off right there. So they don't want people to drink. So if they want to make money off people drinking, because maybe Maryland it snows a lot, or maybe a lot of people like to go on party, then of course increase the sales tax rate so the state can make more money from you guys. Vacationers traveling to the state can face a higher sales tax rate since they are considered short-term rental cars that can be taxed up to 11.5%. That's the way to get your money too. Now, breaking down to number 8, Kentucky. Kentucky has a sales tax rate around 6% with average local taxes on 0% and an average combined sales tax at 6%. So Kentucky itself, compared to the previous two we mentioned, is a pretty in a state in the East Coast, most likely close by a bunch of other states and try to be competitive against everybody else around. So with an average of 6% combined sales tax rate, the state of Kentucky sales tax ties of other 2 states on this list. You won't need to pay any sales tax on groceries or prescription drugs. Another positive. But you will have to pay sales tax when you make your motor vehicle and clothing purchases. But that is the case for most states in the US. And if you watch my other videos, there's a way to actually negate that. But other good things to know about Kentucky sales tax is around January 2023, 30 new categories became subject to sales tax. This include jewelry repair, private investigating, and even parking. Unfortunately, on the bright side, Kentucky's income tax was slashed from 5% to 4.5% when the new taxable categories were added. So if you put it this way is, they add around 30 new categories for your sales tax, but they drop on 0.5% for your income tax. Personally speaking, you look at the benefit, you gain about 0.5%. So your income, let's say it was like 30 grand, you don't have to pay like 0.5% less. But like they added 30 categories, and the 30 categories could be a lot of things. Like for example, jewelry repair was one of them, private investigating was another, but parking. These will eventually add up and take away past your 0.5%. Maybe if they like slash out like 1% to 2%, that probably makes more sense. But in this case, in Kentucky, it's kind of a little mismatch there. But who to say? If you're in California, then you really don't have a choice. Which breaks down to number 7, Michigan. Michigan has a state sales tax of 6%, an average combined local tax is around 0%, and an average combined sales tax of 6%. Michigan is another state with around a 6% sales tax rate. The Michigan sales tax is lower for home energy necessities like electricity, natural gas, and home heating oil, which equates for around 4% for residential consumers. Other good things to note is that Michigan sales tax was first established in around 1933 at a rate of 3%. The tax rate has remained at 6% since 1994. Groceries and prescription drugs are exempt from this tax. Clothing and motor vehicles are taxable. Now, going down to the list, number 6, Virginia sales tax. So Virginia's sales tax is averaging around 5.3%, with the average local state tax around 0.45%, and the combined total is around 5.75%. So counties and cities in Virginia can impose their own sales tax. Still, the average combined sales tax rate remains under 6%. However, you could pay a 7% sales tax rate if you shop in some areas of James City County. When it comes to motor vehicles, tax in Virginia isn't the most affordable, since you need to pay sales tax and Virginia personal property tax too. So this all equates together because it looks at whatever goods and necessities you're looking for, and that will rack up most of the bill. So there are other good things that you should know about Virginia's sales tax is food and personal hygiene products, including diapers too, are taxable but at a reduced rate of 1%. Now, there is no sales tax on over-the-counter medication. So over-the-counter OTC prescription drugs, you're free from taxation. Now, but you still need to pay Virginia sales tax on clothing, unfortunately, which breaks us down to number 5, Maine sales tax. Maine sales tax averages around 5.5%, with the local taxes around 0%, and the average combined, you're looking at around 5.5%. Grocery staples are exempt in Maine, but the state doesn't include some healthy snacks, such as seeds or dried fruit, as staples. So in Maine, you still need to pay sales tax on those. You gotta look at what category you are shopping for. Now, even though there isn't a tax on certain dried fruits, but there are taxes like, for example, wild blueberries. Wild blueberries processed in the state come with a tax rate of 1.5 cents per pound. So other good things to know about Maine sales tax is motor vehicle and clothing purchases are taxable, like most states. Then prepared food is also taxed, but this time at an 8% rate. There is also a 10% tax on short-term rental vehicles. Prescription medications are tax exempted. Now it comes to number 4, Wisconsin. Wisconsin has a state sales tax on average around 5%, with an average local tax around 0.43%. So the combined average sales tax is 5.43%. So prescription drugs are exempt. As you know, trending from the top 10, and now in this case, maybe a 7 down to 1, has a lot of exemptions. You won't need to pay Wisconsin sales tax on groceries either in this case. Now, Wisconsin put an end to sales tax on groceries effective during July of 2006. Wisconsin hasn't spread its repeal on tax on motor vehicles or clothing though. So you still need to pay the state and local tax in Wisconsin on these purchases. So other good things to know about Wisconsin sales tax is taxes are higher in the Dells area at a rate of 6.75%. You could pay up to 12.25% tax on lodging, which breaks us down to number 3. Number 3, Wyoming. So Wyoming has a state sales tax of 4%, an average local tax of 1.36%, and an average combined total is around 5.36%. Now, sales tax in Wyoming was first adopted in 1935 as a temporary measure, but it became permanent in 1937 because money. It is now around at 4%, but cities and counties can set tax rates up to 2%. So you're looking around 6% in total, depending on the county. If the county is more wealthy, they will usually charge a higher sales tax. Tenton Village has a minimum 6% tax rate, but it also features a below average crime rate and a low cost of living. So the better the neighborhood, the better the city, the better the area, you expect to see higher taxes. That's how it is. The good thing to know by Wyoming sales tax is groceries and prescriptions are tax exempt. That's great. Clothing is taxable, unfortunately. But motor vehicles are still taxable, and if a tax jurisdiction imposes a 2% tax rate, 1% must be used for an allocated project, such as construction or other improvements. That's actually a benefit. Which breaks it down to number 2. This place does have things to purchase there, which is Hawaii. Hawaii has a state sales tax rate around 4%, average local tax around 0.44%, and a combined rate of 4.44%. Hawaii has a complex sales tax system with many different levels, so including county, you got city, you got transportation special purposes districts, for example, maybe Mark Zuckerberg's island, but like sales tax in Hawaii is passed down onto consumers in a final price of products. So businesses often charge a 4.712% rate, even though the sales tax is around 4.5% in most areas. This ensures that they don't lose money on the tax based on their gross receipts, unfortunately. But there is some more disappointing news on that matter, in the fact that you will also need to pay tax on groceries, which is already costs more than the national average. So even if you have a low sales tax rate, but that's the state's sales tax, that doesn't include city, county, in this case special transportation services, and they really rack up. So if you look at that case, what are only good things to know about Hawaii? First, prescription drugs are not taxable. That's a benefit. You still need to pay tax over counter medications, unfortunately, but clothing and motor vehicles are taxable. Now, if you were visiting Honolulu in this case, you have to pay a 4.5% tax rate, higher than the combined average of the state. So there goes all the benefits, which brings us down to number 1, a place where you can't really buy many goods and services, unfortunately, which is Alaska. Alaska, sales tax of 0%, average combined local sales tax of 1.76%, average combined sales tax rate of 1.76%. So there is currently no sales tax in Alaska, which figures, but there are more proposals for a 2% statewide tax. However, even if it's passed, Alaska will still take first place for the combined average sales tax. Even if it is passed, Alaska will still take first place for the average combined sales tax rate, not including those with no state or local taxes. While there are some areas do charge a local sales tax, you won't find any in Anchorage. So other good things to know about Alaska sales taxes, Juneau has a 5% sales tax rate, now which is actually higher than the average for Hawaii, but there is no longer a maximum local sales tax, meaning that jurisdictions that can charge any amount they feel like, as long as approved by a majority of the votes. But here it is, the key takeaway within these 10 states. So these states can charge whatever sales taxes want. So for example, like California and New York have really high sales tax. California ranging around like 9.5%, depending on the city, can jump up to 10, 11, maybe even 12%. But this only matters if you have goods and services you purchase. For example, if you want to buy electronics, maybe you want to hit the subscribe button down below and the like button. If you want to buy high-end goods, you must have the stores and shops to do so. So if you want to pay no sales tax and you go to that state like, hey, I can buy a lot of things over there, but they don't have the stores and the goods and necessities you have there, then it kind of defeats the whole purpose. That's it for this video. I'll see you guys next time.